I don't know who need to hear this here, but I ain't got no sympathy for you, nigga. I ain't got no sympathy for you at all, nigga, cause you done laid on that bump, nigga. You done wore them shackles, nigga. You know how I feel to be wrote off, man. Nigga, hug your motherfucking self, nigga, and get up. Get up, nigga. Don't nobody owe you nothing. The world don't owe you nothing, nigga. If anything, they gonna open that motherfucker and kick you back in that pit of hell, nigga. You better tighten up, my nigga, and realize, my nigga. I don't know who need to hear this.
That on one of my
don't bathe no more. None of that shit.
Yeah.
Acting like he a Mexican. This a homeboy who used to keep himself groomed up. 10 years. What's 10 years of shit? A lot of people ain't know how much time I had, bro, cause it was just, that was my time. It wasn't for everybody, you know what I'm saying? Until they start hearing my message. This time they realized how much time I had. But you would never knew that how I carried myself because that was my fight.
Mm-hmm. When you first started off, how much time you originally, how you caught the charge?
With the ghost dope shit, set up same way with Dirty and shit, you know. But I went to trial because it was like only how I can't conspire with an agent. These two of my homeboys growed up with, snot nose, taught you how to fight. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, long story short, when my lawyer told me my homeboy was telling, you know what I'm saying? It was just like I got to see it. I got to see that shit. And when I seen it, that's what it was. You know what I'm saying? I could have copped out to 30 years, but cop out to 30 years for what? I ain't nobody dead. I ain't killed nobody. None of that shit. I'm gonna go to trial. Only how I'm gonna get found guilty if he testify against me. And I ain't gonna believe he gonna do that. This nigga done slept in my mama house. My mama treated him like a son. So I got to see that shit to believe that he gonna do that to me. You know what I'm saying? That's why, like like bro was saying, like as far as the street, that shit over with. That shit over with. And any motherfucker, this my opinion, any motherfucker that done did time, I ain't talking about no 4 years, 5 years, a bitch that done did a stretch. If you come home and get back in the street with that extracurricular shit, your mind already made up. What you gonna do? That's just my opinion now. You know what I'm saying? Because rats, cool, you got cool rats and people who cool with rats. You know what I'm saying?
Celebrate it when they
right.
come home.
Yeah. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? I just ain't one of them. You know what I'm saying? And what that did, what prison did for me, just like they was talking about the young guys. I remember one incident. Wale came off the bus. Soon as he walk in the door, off the rip, you know, people gonna come on, hey, yo, some Crips, some people came with you, you know, and he lose it. So when he come to the room, I would asking him, what's that about? He like, oh, I ain't free. You 25 with 25. Your attitude, bro, don't even put your shit in the room.
Yeah.
Don't put your shit, oh, I'm going in here. All right, you definitely could go in that bitch when they lock the motherfucking door. You know what I'm saying? But just the mentality of the young guy. At this point, it's like when we was in the street, the purpose was to win.
Right.
Y'all, they're in the street right now just to find somebody to shoot.
Playing games.
Right.
They think it's a game.
Right.
They think this is a game.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then they carry that into the prison system,
right.
thinking that it's a game inside. And then they run into a cell with somebody like you,
right.
who's serious. And they're not used to being around serious dudes.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And then that's where stuff really pops off. But it's gotten to a point to where, like, the hustle is like, let's stack up as much as we can, and then when we get knocked off, we're just gonna tell on everybody.
Right.
That's like the new hustle now.
Right.
That's all these kids are coming in. Like when I'm on my way out, I'm at Miami, and all these kids coming into Miami, they're like, man, yeah, I told on everybody I could.
Right.
You got people bragging about it now.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And it's crazy.
How much time you had, Thomas?
So they hit me for ghost dope. I took them to trial, right, for a case out of Pasco County called the Bahama Breeze.
I remember that.
Right, so I'm the one that took them to trial.
Right.
All my homeboys testified against me, like you say,
right.
ghost dope, no evidence of nothing. And they ended up giving me 210 months.
Right.
So I scored out to a level 32 And then for going to trial, they hit me with an obstruction charge, which took me to a 34. And then I scored out to category 4. So I scored to 210 to 268, and then the judge hit me with a low end of the 210.
Right.
Which is significant because these judges know what they do.
Right.
They play it like it's a merciful thing that they're sentencing you in the low end. But what they do is they hit me with the obstruction, because I think the 17 and the 210 was what they were going to put in their mind.
Mm-hmm.
If a judge sentences you into the high end of that category, you have better odds of winning an appeal, right?
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You have better odds of winning an appeal when that judge sentences you in the high end of that category versus the low end.
Because of the ramification of the case. In general, it ain't violent. It's not. They gonna charge you. They gonna make it look violent, but it's really it's everything. They made up everything.
And the court is always and going to factor its way to show that it's always showing mercy in some aspect.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so it's like they jack you up with an obstruction charge for going to trial so that they can hit me in the low end, which was the sentence that they originally wanted to give me.
Right.
But now when I'm appealing, what am I getting from the appellate court? Well, the court showed mercy by sentencing you in the low end. You see what I'm saying? He could have sentenced you in the high end, but he sentenced you in the low end. Right. So it's like you already got a break.
Right.
So these are things that the public don't understand. Like when we're in here fighting our case, these are the little nuances that we got to try to overcome with this stuff. And they got the game laid out. This is the federal system.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And when I'm out there doing what I'm doing, again, the feds never even factored into my mind.
Right.
See, I ain't never caught a dope charge. Even though I've been selling dope since I was a child, I never caught no dope charge. So in my mind, I'm thinking, if I ever got caught, I catch state time, 3 to 5 years. I go do that in a whip. But no fed. When these people come in and bust into my house talking about a conspiracy, I'm like, conspiracy? The hell is that? Like, I'm not no terrorist.
Right.
Who's your agent?
Tim Lutz.
I had Richard Zayas, an ATF agent, and they had dressed him up real good too, man. I'm talking about when I met him, he was in a Lexus. He had a ponytail. He had a pinky ring on. He had some Italian loafers on. You know, because now these agents right now is they getting younger and younger. Mm-hmm. Like they'll get a straight DEA or ATF agent and let him grow some dreads and put some tattoos in his face. And they look like they 18, 19 years old. They look young so they can infiltrate, you know what I'm saying, whatever they're trying to infiltrate better. You know what I mean? So they done got smarter, man. You know, I got hit with a stash house robbery. And sometimes I've battled with myself over the years about that, like just feeling like, damn, man, how could I went for that? You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I was the first person in Tampa to get hit like that with that case, meaning that I didn't know anybody prior to 2002 that had those stash house robberies. If y'all don't know what a stash house robbery is, basically it's when the Fed come to you, they try to infiltrate you, and they tell you that, like in my case, they told me that it was 20 kilos of cocaine and $150,000 in this house. And the only thing they want you to do is just agree to do it. And when you agree to do it, they saying that's the conspiracy.
That's conspiracy.
But the
You
conspiracy
ain't
law,
do it.
Right.
but
You
the
ain't gotta do it.
yeah, but the conspiracy law says, and I read it over and over and over, that ATF agents, DEA, or CIs cannot form a conspiracy. It has to already be existing when they infiltrate it. Meaning you can't come to me and say, hey, I know where this robbery at, and then I go to him, and then I go to him. Not all four of us is together, and you done stepped out because I can't conspire with the CI. And now we done made
Hey, look,
we made a conspiracy.
Not to cut you off, but that goes with once they know your name, regardless of what the paperwork and scorecards, what you go through already, that agent already know how much time your ass finna get already before you went to court.
Yeah, before you even came and got
just by your name. Just when they hit your name, do it back. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm even get deeper than that. Excuse me, not to cut you off. I'm even get deeper than that. Is the reason why they told me that it was 20 kilos of cocaine in that house is called sentencing manipulation.
Right,
Because whatever amount that I pled to, meaning they hit me with 15 keys or more, I think it's from 15 to 50 keys. So meaning that when you agree to that, When you verbally agree to that, now they're gonna charge you with them 20 keys. Meaning that it was no different. I got the same statue as Big
Hey,
Meech,
look,
man.
and
I got the
crazy.
same. I got the same drug statue as Big Meech, man.
To what he said, to what you said, like about conspiring with an agent. Never under investigation. Never went to no meetings. None of that shit. Went with them that morning. So I'm going to trial. I'm thinking I'm finna, because I already know it. I can't conspire with this dude. Correct. He can't tell you shit about me, but just he saw me that day, and he was, and even on the recording, we kept playing in court. He kept saying, Rosiah, I don't know who. He looked like somebody else, but when you got on the stand, you like, it was him. Yeah. But he just keep, every time he do that, he just play the tape.
Correct.
He just play the tape.
Correct.
Recess. Came back, boom, okay, now they done got Buddy back there talking, telling them my aliases and shit like that. All this shit in my paperwork, all the way through my 2 years fighting this shit, all the way, never nobody ate that shit. It's just one time in that motherfucking paperwork. That's it. And the agent trying to study saying like, I know that's got, but it's a typo. Recess, he go back there to this nigga and come back out, and he was like, yeah, that's him. I'm telling you, that's his name. That's what they talking about right here. The whole 2 years, never brought, none of that shit brought up. So now this is what they use to try on the grounds of finding me guilty.
So your homeboy did that?
Absolutely.
Knowing they gonna give you a life sentence.
Knowing they gonna give me a life sentence, growed up the street from you, shot along, 2 houses down, that nigga.
I had a dude get up on the stand against me and testify I never seen before in my life. Never seen before in my life. He gets up on the stand and testifies that he was at a party and that I walked in with a garbage bag full of dope, full of kilos, cocaine, and that I sold these cocaine in front of everybody. Right? Wow. In front of everybody now. And when the prosecutor had asked him, which my prosecutor, her name was Pamela Marsh, right? So when she had asked him, right, well, how did you know it was cocaine? He said because it was a clear bag and I could see all the cocaine in the bag.
You might as well have went to the police station, like, I got you.
Now, mind you, this comes off the back of Pasco County's detectives up there who just testified saying that this guy is such a menace, right, because we had no idea who he was. This dude flew so much under the radar that we had no idea that he was distributing this amount of cocaine in West Pasco. Right. But now then you get this dude up on the stand talking about I'm walking in a house full of people with a clear garbage bag, you see what I'm saying, full of cocaine, and I've never knew this dude. So what ends up happening is these prosecutors go into the Orient Road jail, and you got these dudes that are waiting to get off their sentence.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Jumping on dudes' cases.
Oh, yeah.
And then you'll have these agents that'll go in there and say, okay, well, tell us what you know about such and such, right? Well, I know that this dude, and they'll coach them through that.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
They kicked me out. They kicked me out the Fed cell on the road because that was going on. So I just, every time they put me in the Fed cell, I just beat somebody up, and then they put me in the state cell with everybody.
That's what people had said to get over on the state side, where you didn't have to worry about people jumping on your case.
Just beat it, just fighting.
It's disgusting, man. You got people trying to jump on your case left and right.
Yeah. Man, I when I got out, right, I'm gonna share this with y'all, right. This all the way back from that's beginning like to the end, right. I got on the program at the courthouse. I forgot it's like the early you get off program. I went, when I first got there, you introduce yourself. This is my first time being rattled. I'm gonna say that when I had got home. So when you go on the program, you meet all the judges. There's gonna be participating in the program. And when you go in there, you introduce yourself. They already know you or whatever. So long story short, the judge asked me, how did I feel when I got a life sentence? I ain't had nothing to say. So unexpected. So long story short, when I programmed, because I used to teach the class too. So when I programmed, I asked him how he felt giving them out. He was at a loss of words too. You know, so Mary Scrivens intervened and spoke up for him. He tried to backdoor her. And I just let him know how I felt about it. Because just like this man was speaking, it's optional. At the end of the day, how you sentence a person.
Discretionary,
Yep, discretionary. And I hadn't hurt nobody. It was all a fabricated case. And how I felt about it, it wasn't even about me. It was about my mom and my family, because I had to accept what I had dealt with at that time. It had came to a point where I had accepted like what my fate was gonna be when I was in that shit. And like sitting right here right now, man, looking at my homie in that cell, I ain't even want to look at that shit. And just like I heard you say something the other day about anybody that's been in prison and say that they didn't affect them mentally in some way, whether you more sheltered, you more insensitive to stuff that's real world people, like people who been through what they've been through, but and ain't trying to downplay what the person been through, but our insensitivity comes from having to, as a man, be told by a boy what to do, how to move, disrespectfully, most time.
I remember one time, not even cut you off, I'm gonna just tell you something real quick.
Right.
That they caught him with a knife one time. I remember this. They caught him with a knife, you know, a prison shank or whatever. Everybody has them.
Oh yeah.
You know, everybody has them.
Yeah.
And when he went to DHO, we were sellers at this time.
Right.
But no, you was on the other side. You was on the west side.
This had got there.
But when he went to DHO, the DHO asked him, I think it's the craziest question in the world.
Right.
They asked him, why did he have that knife? Well, just so happened, the same day that he came off the compound, came on the compound, and they put him in that unit, what that was, J unit? Anyway, K unit. He saw a man get killed with his eyes, meaning he walked in that unit and he saw a dude take his last breath.
Just
meaning that's how serious it was. So,
where was y'all at?
We was at Coleman. And
y'all were there with
he basically told the DHO people that basically that's why I had the knife. You know what I'm saying? And like, look, 2017, I went back for the Johnson case. The Johnson case was basically, I had a Florida gun case, what I caught, I think years before. And when I fell in 2002, they was enhancing you for those guns, for those just possession of Florida guns. But the Johnson case ruled that if you didn't use the gun, then that wasn't a crime of violence. So they end up having to take the take the ACCA off of me, which is the Armed Career Criminal Act. I said that to say is that when I went back to court in 2017, I had 5 years left to do. The judge could have let me out of prison, or she could have cut it, or she could have let it stay the same. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, the whole thing was the discretionary motion, because they gave me 2 21-year sentences running together, and they gave me a 5-year sentence running wild for the new firearm that I caught in the Fed. I got penalized and I got enhanced 3 times for one gun. Right. I caught a 924C.
Stack.
I caught the felon in possession of a firearm. They gave me 5 years for the 924C. They gave me 21 years for the possession of the gun. Then for the drugs, they gave me 21 years. Man, but the 2 21s, they ran together and then they ran wild.
That's called
but that bitch gave me life plus 5. What the fuck I'm gonna do with the 5?
They want him to die and come back and do 5 years.
And 10 years paper. Look, and 10 years paper.
See, that's a good point.
They give you life
plus 5 plus and 10 years paper.
And see, and what a lot of people don't understand is why, because people say, well, why are you giving this man 500 years? You see what I'm saying? And it's, you guys got to understand is these are walls. So like he said, life plus 5. So now he's got two things that he's got to fight against.
Right.
You
If
see
I
what I'm
get
saying?
You right here, you still got to fight.
You still got to fight here.
Right,
so if you
right.
get the 5 years off, you still got the life.
And if you get the,
if you get the life off, you still got the 5.
Or they
And
even
when
going
you
so
get out,
far
you
as
still got
the
this paper.
listen. They gave
Right.
Joe Harden.
Still got the paper.
Look, they gave Joe Harden. Shout out to Joe Harden, Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Gene,
they gave Joe
free that
Harden. He
nigga
did.
Gene.
Listen, he did 30 years, man. He did 30 years. He had life. He had the crack law, but they gave Joe Harden a life sentence and gave him probation afterwards.
Right.
What, he gonna die and then
Tell
come
him
back and do the probation?
What he told
Smoke, huh?
I think he ended up going back or something.
Right. They tried to get that man to do that probation. He said, his mom and his daddy died. He said, man, I lost my mom and my daddy. My mama came to me and told me don't do that shit. That nigga went back, did the rest of that paper and got out. Y'all want this man to stay on probation. I'm gonna go back and do these 2 years.
Yeah.
I can't tell you guys how many times I've seen people beat the gun charge and then they go in there and tell them, "Oh, well, that's the time you did was the gun charge."
Yes.
Yeah,
So they
yeah,
still
yeah,
have to
yeah.
sit
They
and
come
do-
get you from the state
do the
after you do
drugs.
your state charge. The Fed will come scoop your ass up. After you could do state time for that gun. When you get out, I done seen this happen. When you get out that front gate, the feds up there waiting to get you and take you and go do some more time for that same goddamn
For the same
gun.
charge.
Same gun?
The same
The
goddamn
same
gun.
gun.
Oh, I seen him.
Absolutely.
I seen him
Because
in
of
the
two
feds.
different entities.
I seen him in the feds where a guy had a gun charge, but then he had dope charge on top, and then he went through the courts. He beat the gun charge, right? And so when he went in there and he was thinking he was going home because he was like,
Right.
you know what I
Right,
mean?
right,
Obviously,
right.
I did whatever time I had to do, and they went in there and said, "Oh no, the time you did was the gun charge."
Right.
So he didn't get no time off of that, even though he won the case. He still had to sit there.
You remember the old man that was at Coleman with us? He was an old man. He was about 60 years old, and he was one of them junk dudes on the streets. And what I mean by that is he just collect a lot of things like junk on the streets. His whole yard piled up with this stuff. But anyway, he found a bullet on the ground, man, and drilled a hole in it and put it around a chain, something like a little fake chain, real chain, whatever it was. Anyway, they caught that old man with that bullet around his neck on his chain and gave him 15 years for that, man.
I heard about that.
For ammunition.
Yeah.
I had
They
heard
gave
about
him
that.
15 years for that, man.
I did hear about that.
It was a little chain around his neck with the bullet.
I don't know who need to hear this here, but I ain't got no sympathy for you, nigga. I ain't got no sympathy for you at all, nigga, because you done laid on that bump, nigga. You done wore them shackles, nigga. You know how I feel to be wrote off, man. Nigga, hug your motherfucking self, nigga, and get up. Get up, nigga. Don't nobody owe you nothing. The world don't owe you nothing, nigga. If anything, they gonna open that motherfucker and kick you back in that pit of hell, nigga. You better tighten up, my nigga, and realize, my nigga. I don't know who need to hear this.